live on the air. I'm Richard Sales.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Sale. Wow, do we got a lot to get into today. We are officially 11 weeks down. Thanksgiving week starts Thursday. Well, not just pro. There's some college football in there on Thursday and Friday, too. Obviously, we got the playoff for college football coming up with the last rivalry week of the season. And then we got NFL Week 12 on Sunday. And then we got a pretty okay Monday night game. But let's get to everybody's favorite segment. The one we always do when we recap a week. Recapping with Rich. Week 11. We're going to start off with the Thursday night game between the Packers and the Titans. Ryan Tannehill actually played well this game. I know there were people that said that he looked like Mahomes out there Thursday night. I wouldn't go that far. But he actually played well. We got to give him credit there. Derrick Henry did what Derrick Henry usually does. 28 carries, 87 yards, a touchdown. He actually had a 4-yard passing touchdown, too, to add on to his impressive day as well. But Treylon Burks stepped up. The guy the Titans drafted to replace A.J. Brown. He had 7 catches, 111 yards. You had Robert Woods get 6 for 69 yards. Austin Hooper, the tight end, 2 receiving touchdowns. The offensive line still looks shaky with 3 sacks allowed. Defense really, they did a very good job on Rodgers. They held him to 17, 1 sack. They didn't get any takeaways. They had the 1 turnover on downs where it was like, I want to say 4th and 1 from like the 5, and they didn't get it around that. But they were 7-13 on 3rd down. That's great. They were 4-6 in the red zone. Not bad. They had the 1 turnover, which was not Tannehill's fault. The safety actually made a really nice play on it. He, baited him. That was a nice job. He didn't see him. But it was a better play by the safety. But Titans had a very impressive win on the road. They're still in the crazy AFC hierarchy of the playoff picture. But nice win on the road in Green Bay. And now they got a mini bye to get ready for their next game. They got the Bengals next game. So, yeah, mini bye for the Bengals coming up. Rematch of the playoff game last year. Let's go to the Packers side of things. Aaron Rodgers looked okay, guys. I mean, he had some really bad overthrows. I know the one to Lazard stood out. I think there was one to Tanyan, I want to say, that he missed bad. But Rodgers had some bad overthrows that if he just makes them, they keep the drive alive on a lot of those, and who knows if they score. But he missed some guys open. Running game really didn't do much. We all know Titans are a very good run defense. Christian Watson continues to be the new emergence of maybe Rodgers' number 1 receiver. 4 catches, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. They still got Lazard, who had a nice day. They had Randall Cobb, who had a nice day. I think Dobbs was still hurt, so he didn't play, I'm going to say. Defense gave up 27. They have regressed so much since the first 4 weeks. I mean, they just don't look like the defense that everybody thinks that they are. I mean, they've just been, maybe you could say a below-average defense, but they're at times average. But they gave up 27. They got 3 sacks, though. Douglas had the pick. They had 2 turnover on downs late in the game when they were trying to push for points and make it a game. But Rodgers was just off. And he looks like he's regressed since the back-to-back MVPs he's won the last 2 seasons. They were 7 of 14 on third down. That's great. 2 of 3 in the red zone. Again, if you make one of those opportunities in the red zone, we might have a different conversation depending on how much you keep forcing the ball downfield. And all you would need at that point, if you did go, let's say, 3 for 3, you would need a field goal. But again, I'm just naming a hypothetical scenario here. All I'm saying is that one red zone opportunity hurt. The 2 turnover on downs hurt. I thought the Packers would turn the corner. I was wrong. But it doesn't get any easier for them. They got Minnesota once more. They got, I want to say, at Philly next week. It's just not going to get easy for them. It's in Miami, I think, right on Christmas Eve or something like that. It's not going to get easier. It's only going to get rough for Green Bay. But I hate to say it. I think they're done right now. They really look like that they're not going to go far. But again, in the NFC, I think they're, 2 out from the Niners or Seattle. I don't think that they're going to make a wild card spot, but they're not done yet, but they're heading towards that way. Bears and the Falcons. Justin Fields was okay. He wasn't, amazing compared to his last 3 games, I want to say, or last 4, okay? He was okay, though. He, 14 to 21, 153 through the air, with a touchdown and a pick. On the ground, he had 18 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. David Montgomery ran the ball well, caught some passes out of the backfield. Darnell Mooney had a touchdown. That offensive line for the Bears is brutal, okay? We're starting to see why they're more of a running team, okay? Well, we've kind of seen that, actually, through almost 2/3 of the season, but they clearly can't pass protect well. All right, they gave up 4 sacks this game. Defensively, when you trade away your 2 best players, you should expect results like this. 27 points allowed. They didn't get any sacks. They got 1 quarterback hit. They were able to get 2 fumble recoveries. That missed field goal was basically the difference in the game by Santos. Although it was early in the game, but 3 points off the board, and you lost by 3, and you know that a missed field goal hurt, missed opportunity. They might have gone to OT, and who knows what happens in overtime, but that missed field goal early in the game, difference in the game essentially. 9 of 16 on third down, they were pretty great. 7 penalties, they're going to have to clean that up. But here's my thoughts on the Bears right now. When you look at this team, they're in a lot of close games. They've been in some high scoring. And I think to myself, I say, they don't look like a 3-8 team. When you think of 3-8, you think at least they're down by double digits and they can't do anything well. They might have one game that they come out of nowhere and just go off every once in a while. But let's be honest. Look at the Bears' first 11 games. They don't look like a 3-8 team. They look like a 5-6 team that's just poorly rostered, okay? And I just think that they'll be better in the future. But when I watch this, and I hope I'm not the only one that thinks this, they're not a 3-8 team. I know their record says what they are, but eye test, they're not a 3-8 team. They're not. They played Miami tough, Atlanta tough. At the end of the day, I know you lost, but when you watch this team on tape, sure, they may not have names, but remember, they had some nice wins this year against my Patriots. I know they lost the Giants by 8. They played the Lions really tough. I think they played Minnesota tough. So they've been in a lot of close games. But they're not a bad team. It's just they're young and they got a lot of good stuff for the future to build on. But I will say this, they're not a 3-8 team. I know the record says what they are, but the Bears, hopefully Fields is going to play against the Jets, but I don't think he will. And they're saying it could be season ending, which I don't think it is. I know Eberflus said it could be season ending, but I just find it hard to believe that his left shoulder is season ending. And I didn't see the injury. So hopefully he gets back for the Jet game. If not, hopefully that he doesn't miss a season because he's been playing lights out the last 4 or 5 weeks. Let's go to Atlanta. Mariota was all right. He had a rushing touchdown. Running game did pretty good. Drake London had the receiving touchdown. The defense did get 4 sacks. This was one of their best pass rushing days. Hawkins had the pick. One of the key differences in this game was Cordell Patterson had a 103-yard kickoff return touchdown. And that's 6 points right there. So Atlanta won by 3. Without that kickoff return, we might have a different conversation. So we have the missed field goal by the Bears. We have the 103-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Okay? So each team had a play where, it kind of separated themselves from a different conversation. Atlanta did get the kickoff that if they didn't get, outcome would have been different. And then we had the Bears who, if they make the field goal overtime, and we never know what happens in OT, but they miss that field goal, and that's why the score is what it is. So Cordero Patterson's kickoff return touchdown, another big play in the game. I heard the oldest saying is there's 5 plays that decide the outcome of a game. It's just when do they come and at what time do they do it. Probably more, but there's at least 5 critical plays that decide the outcome of a game. Okay? Sometimes more, but I know there's at least 5. 2 of 9 on third down, 2 turnovers. Not really good. I thought Atlanta had a sloppy win. And I know you could say that from a coaching standpoint, that's good when you win a little ugly and you look sloppy because it's easy to correct things leading up to the next week. But I don't know. Atlanta looks like they only win one way. And now Kyle Pitts is out with a torn MCL. So you lose a key receiver, tight end really, and now you're down to Drake London, Zacchaeus, and I think for Anthony Ferguson, Damiere Byrd, they're very thin at receivers. So Atlanta looks like they only can win one way. If you take away the run, they really can't win any other way. So big loss for Atlanta, losing Kyle Pitts, and Atlanta has been in a lot of tough games, but now their best receiver is gone. That's going to be rough. Browns and the Bills. Jacoby Brissett actually played pretty well this game. 28-41, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, the only bad play he had was the lost fumble that he had. The running game did okay. They did a good job keying up Chubb, the Bills defense. So Kareem Hunt actually had better success than Chubb did. Amari Cooper, he went off. 8 catches, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 5 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Defense is still the Achilles heel with the Browns. 2 sacks, but they gave up 31 points, and they can't get a takeaway. I mean, sure, when you think of the front 4, they have Garrett, Clowney, who you expect to get after the quarterback. But who's the guy that can get a takeaway or force a turnover on the Browns? Outside of Denzel Ward, there's not really a lot of options they have. So Cleveland's defense has been bad all season. But here's where really we got to look and say, okay, they threw away this game. They had a fumble, a turnover on downs, a missed field goal. 3 crucial drives that they threw away when they had the game plan that they wanted most of the game. But they threw it away by missing out on 3 missed opportunities. 3. And you lose by 8. That makes you sick when you miss out on 3 opportunities that if you cash in at least on 2 of them, we might have a different conversation. But 3, that's bad. 4 of 11 on third down, that's not very good. 2 of 4 in the red zone. Again, if you want to beat the good teams in this league, you have to cash it in when you get in the red area and be able to score. 2 opportunities where you didn't. Instead, you kick field goals. 6 penalties, the 1 turnover. Cleveland, you got to build the defense. Offensively, when Deshaun Watson gets back, you guys are going to be fine. Okay? Because, but again, it depends how rusty he is. That offensive line's good. Running game's good. Peoples-Jones, David Bell's not a bad third receiver. Cooper's really good. And Njoku, when he gets back, is a solid tight end. The defense is what you got to build. This whole season says your defense has not played well. Outside of 2 games. That's what the eyes tell me too. So, Cleveland, you got to build the defense. Let's go to the Bills. Josh Allen was all right. Not really the MVP candidate type numbers we'd expect, but they're in a slump right now. And when I say slump, they just are not playing to the level of expectations most people expect them to play at. And there's going to be games where teams perform under the expectations bar. Sometimes you're not going to get 200 yards passing, but you might have 2 almost 100-yard rushers, which the Bills had in Devin Singletary, who had 86 yards and a touchdown, 18 carries. And then Cook carries it for 11 times, gets 86 yards. Diggs had a receiving touchdown. He didn't really have a great day. You know, Knox and Gabe Davis stepped up instead. That's a good sign for the Bills when your stars don't really play well, but you have complementary players that play well as, and step up when they need to be called upon. The defense gave up 23. That's not bad. Matt Milano, one of the underrated linebackers in football. He had a fumble recovery and a sack this game. Okay. But they were 3 of 11 on third down, the Bills. Not really great. 2 of 5 in the red zone. Okay, not really impressive. 8 penalties, 89 yards. They've looked sloppy for sure the last couple of weeks. You could say 4 to 5. Well, 4.5 quarters. Well, 4.5 games. Let's go. But I think they're going to get this fixed. It's good that they got a win, and they can clean this stuff up. They got a short week. But I will say this: they're entering their little rough patch where they got to get through it, and they were able to get through this game with a win. Eagles and the Colts. Jalen Hurts was good. Led his team back with the game-winning drive for the win. 18 of 25, 190 passing yards, and a touchdown through the air. On the ground, 16 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. This was an MVP-type game for him. He may not be the front runner at the moment, but this is a game where he didn't just throw it. He ran a touchdown in. And clearly, without Jalen Hurts, the Eagles don't win this game. Okay? Devontae Smith, 6 catches, 78 yards. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 60 yards. Quez Watkins had a touchdown. They got a nice trio of receivers. Okay? And then we forgot to mention Dallas Goedert, who had an okay game, but he's another guy that has had big games for them. Look at the Texan game. Okay? Offensive line, though, 3 sacks allowed. They were a little shaky this game. 16 points allowed, though, the defense gave up. That will win since you have an offense that can at least score 20 or more, depending on who you play. They got 4 sacks. They got a fumble recovery. They had the turnover on downs and the fumble. They'll have to clean those missed opportunities up. They were able to squeak by with the win. 5 of 12 on third downs, okay. 1 of 2 in the red zone is not bad. 7 penalties and 2 turnovers. Sloppy but yet ugly win, and just squeaked it out on the road. And lately they've had to sweat. Last 2 games, is it possible that we kind of know how to beat Philly? Because the Colts did a great job most of this game, which we'll get into in a second. But Philly looks vulnerable, very vulnerable, the last 2 weeks. So this might be a sign that could there be a steep decline and maybe somebody like Minnesota or the Niners take the 1 seed? Maybe within their own division, like the Cowboys. A lot of games left, 7 weeks left, but Philly looks okay. It looks like they're hanging by a thread. Let's go to the Colts. Matt Ryan played good. 23-32 for 213 yards. Not bad. Jonathan Taylor ran the ball pretty well. 22 times for 84 yards and a touchdown. They did exactly what Washington did, except their defense couldn't get the stop on Jalen Hurts when it mattered most. Okay? But we'll get to the defense in just a second. Michael Pittman, 6 catches for 75 yards. Paris Campbell had 5 catches for 67 yards. Offensive line has disappointed so bad this season for the Colts. 4 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 17, which is great. All your job as an offense is to get 20. They didn't get 20, and neither did the Eagles, but they gave up 17. And their offense scored 16. Managed to get 2 fumble recoveries, 3 sacks. Here's where the Colts are going to be kicking themselves. Missed field goal, fumble, turnover on downs. Washington was able to capitalize on those last Monday night. The Colts didn't. 3 big, crucial drives. You needed 1 to go your way, and the Eagles dropped 2 straight. They didn't. That's the difference between what Washington did and what the Colts didn't do. Okay? 5 of 15 on 3rd down. Not very good. 1 of 3 in the red zone. Again, the little things that don't go that much. Well, they are important, but they don't get as much importance as they should. Okay? 8 penalties and a turnover. The little things they have to clean up. And this is such a heartbreaker because you had almost everything go your way except for the little things that go into a game that you got to do if you want to be able to pull off the upset against great teams. And they didn't do that. My Patriots against the Jets. I almost said my Jets, which is not true. I meant to say, well, I did say my Patriots, but Jets and the Patriots. Here we go. You know, I managed to catch this little clip I'm about to show you. Caught it weeks ago. Caught my eye. And I don't think many Patriot fans saw this. But I'm about to show it. But I saw this and all I wanted to do was just be like, seriously? This is just adding insult, right? But now that both the meetings against the Jets are over, I think it's time to show it.
I mean, the Jets right now, they've got it going on. All right, so let's redo here. Ready? Broncos win. Patriots win. Bills loss. Patriots win. Bears win. At Minnesota, loss. At Buffalo, loss. Lions win. Jaguars win. Seahawks win. At Miami, winner goes to the playoffs. Win! Jets! We're in! We're back, baby! Jets Twitter used to love me. Robert Saleh, keep that receipt. The New York Jets. I was dead wrong. They're gonna go to the playoffs. Let's do it. Jets football. Gangrene. Jets. Jets. We did it.
Yeah, wrong, and even more wrong after the Broncos game. So that means, is he going to be wrong for the later half of their schedule? Looks like it. But that's all I needed to see. And this was weeks ago. This was not even the week of the meeting or the week of the first meeting. No. This was right before. And that's all I needed to hear. Is that this clown actually thought the Jets were going to sweep us. No. Even more wrong, but that's all I needed. At the end of the day, I am laughing, okay? And I know I read some of the replies that people said after he reacted to the punt return touchdown. And he's like, I picked the Patriots once. Nope, you didn't, because the clip says you picked the Jets to sweep us. Don't lie, okay? We got it, though. That's what Lounge Time does. Anyway, let's get back to the game, shall we? Zach Wilson, he sucks, okay? First game, it was the turnovers and him throwing off his back foot. This game, He overthrew a back that the wind sailed the ball over his head. I mean, it wasn't... Receivers did drop passes, yes. But at the end of the day, Zach Wilson didn't make the plays that he had to make for them to win this game. Okay? And the running game got shut down. The receivers didn't really do much. Offensive line, 4 sacks allowed. The defense actually played well enough to win this game. 6 sacks, 3 points allowed. They didn't get any takeaways. But 3 of 14 on third down. All of 1 in the red zone. But again, there were elements that played a factor in this, and we have to say this because there are certain games in the season that elements are going to play a factor. This was one of them with the wind, and this was like that game with the Bills last year where the wind was like crazy and played a huge factor, and this game had that type of feel to it, except it was just much more boring than the Monday night game last year. Which brings me to my Patriots. Mac Jones, in my opinion, he didn't really play that well, but he was 23-27 for 246 yards. Made some nice plays when he didn't get sacked. Okay? But here's the one knock. When you're about to get a defender closing in for a sack, just throw the ball away. I'm screaming on the TV watching this game, throw the ball away. I mean, there were like 2-3 times I said this, and he doesn't throw the ball away lately. This is not just this game, it was the other Jets meeting too, where I'm saying throw it away. I mean, if you got a guy closing in on you and no one's open, you got to just throw it away. You can't always depend on the receivers to just wait and then throw it. But it feels like every time he drops back, receiver's not looking for the ball, and he's just waiting on. No, if he's not open, you got to throw that away. If they're not open, it's not your fault. It's their fault for not getting open. Okay? Damian Harris had some nice runs, 8 carries for 65 yards. Receivers did okay. I know Henry and Johnny almost fucking sold in the red zone. He almost sold, okay? He fumbled, and we're lucky we landed on that. That was a bad, bad play that could have gone another way. But still, I mean, he almost sold. Offensive line sucks. They suck. Let me tell you guys something. The first meeting against the Jets, we gave up 7 sacks. This game alone, we gave up 6. What does this tell me? The offensive line sucks. Why? Go back early in the year when I talk about the Patriots O-line scheme. I'm not going down this road again. We all know Matt Patricia does no business coming in with a new scheme when he's unproven as a play caller, let alone as an offensive coordinator, okay? Defense, though, lights out, 3 points allowed. Judon, sack and a half. I mean, I said it 2 weeks ago. I'm voting for Defensive Player of the Year. I know Parsons had an amazing game yesterday, but I'm taking Judon because there's other little things that don't go on a stat sheet that Parsons can do, but I've seen Judon do more. Okay? 4 team sacks for the Patriots. 0 takeaways, though. Had that type of game to it, though. But here's where the difference in the game came. Now, 30 seconds. They pumped the ball to Marcus Jones. 84 yards the other way. You know what that game reminded me of? It's going to piss somebody off in a minute, though. Somebody I'm going over next. It involves the Giants. You know what this game reminded me of? The Miracle at the Meadowlands 2. With Deshaun Jackson returning a punt for the win. Although the difference between Marcus Jones and Deshaun Jackson is that game essentially knocked the Giants out of the playoffs. Okay? And the Eagles won the division that game. In this game, it clinched a sweep for the Jets this season. Okay? It might have bigger implications down the road, but at this moment now, it's like, you know, it's a big win, yes, because it made us go from last to third, but nothing to where it will maybe matter, let's say, with 2 weeks left in the season, where it might separate a team going to the playoffs and a team not going in, okay? But, hey, ugly. I'll take the win, but I will say this. I still don't think we're going to the playoffs. I still think this team's not very good, okay? And I'm a Patriot fan saying this, okay? We're not going anywhere. Maybe depending on how we look against teams like Minnesota, Miami, Cincy, and Buffalo, and depending on how, if we could pull an upset there, I might change my mind, but I don't think I'm going to. And I'm being honest there. 3 of 14 on third down, awful. 0 of 1 in the red zone. The wind played a major factor in this game, but we were lucky to win. 2 missed field goals by Nick Folk. I know he's not that good. I mean, the only reason he's good is when nothing like a crazy wind happens, and that's the best way I could say it. So, but yeah, I mean, 4-15 I meant to say on third down, which is not very good. But like I said, 8 penalties. I forgot to mention too. Not very impressed. Rams and the Saints. Matt Stafford looked good up until he got hurt. 11 of 18, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers was able to run the ball well, 14 carries, 61 yards. Tutu Atwell and Allen Robinson had a touchdown each. Offensive line still is bad for the Rams. 4 sacks allowed. Defense gave up 27 to Andy Dalton and the Saints. Leonard Floyd, Greg Gaines had 2 sacks each. Stepped up while Aaron Donald got most of the double teams and triple teams. 0 takeaways. The 1 turnover on downs was a difference in the game. 5 of 14 on third down, not very good. 1 of 2 in the red zone, 6 penalties. The Rams are done. I said it last week. And this validates it. No matter if Stafford comes back, this team is done. I don't like to say this with 7 games to go, but they're one of the thinnest rosters. Okay, there's not a lot of depth on this team. They're having problems on both sides of the ball. And their offensive line's bad. Their running game had an okay day, but on most days, the running game has not been good. Cooper Kupp now being hurt is a big deal to this offense. And now Matt Stafford's hurt. There's always something after another. And this team just isn't very good this season. Luckily, the all-in method worked last year, and they got a ring out of it. But this team is not very built well right now. Which brings me to the Saints. Andy Dalton actually played well. 21 of 25. 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. Played well. Okay? Running game did okay. Chris Olave, the rookie receiver, 5 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. Juwan Johnson, Jarvis Landry had a touchdown each. O-line gave up 4 sacks. A little shaky for them, too. Defense gave up 20. It works if your offense can score 21, which they were able to get 27. Ellis and Granderson stepped up with a sack and a half for both of those guys. Each 0 takeaways they got, but they won the game. But still, they couldn't take the ball away. 4 of 11 on third down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. This isn't really a huge deal, I would say. It's a good win against a team that they should beat. But this is no big deal for them. I mean, they've underachieved so far. And they were mulling a QB change. Well, Dalton said, okay, I can play better this game. But will he be able to play better down the road? I'm not trusting that. And Jameis, we all know, is a turnover machine. So the Saints, they got to figure out which QB gives them the best chance to win. And I don't see either of them being a big solution for the end of this season. I don't. Lions and the Giants. I'm going to wait till I get to the Giants, but let's get to the Lions. Jared Goff was okay. Running game, they ate. Jamal Williams, 3 touchdowns, 17 carries, 64 yards. He was eating, okay, and he got some touchdowns off that, 3 of them. DeAndre Swift had a rushing touchdown, okay? Justin Jackson even he had the most yards out of the backs. 9 carries for 66 yards. Okay, and he's a third stringer. Okay? Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches for 76 yards. Defense. The Lions defense held the Giants to under 20. 18 points allowed. Aiden Hutchinson, the 2nd overall pick. The rookie had a fumble recovery and an interception. Joseph had an INT. They got 2 sacks as a team. And on third down, they were actually pretty good. 6 of 13s. That's pretty good. Okay, and a big one on the road, and they've won 3 straight. They've won 3 straight games. Big test, though, against Buffalo. Which brings me to the Giants. This is what I was waiting for. You see, this is what happens when you puff your chest out after so many good, lucky calls go your way. All of a sudden, off the bye, they beat a not-so-great Texans team, which was expected. And they think at home, you know what? We're going to be 7-2. We're going to be right down Philly's neck for the division. Lions are nothing. They can't stop anybody. They stopped you, though. Okay? And the quote-unquote future for the Giants, a couple of people I'm going to have on later this year. I'm trying to get them on, but we're working on the day of when they'll be here. But they're Giant fans. They know who they are. Daniel Jones, 27-44, 341 yards, touchdown, 2 picks. He did have a rushing touchdown. We could throw that in there. The future didn't play very well yesterday. Or not yesterday, Sunday. He didn't play well. Oh, no. Okay, then the Lions, you should beat the Lions. They can't stop a cold, a runaway train. No, but they stopped you this game. So now what are we going to say? Okay, because they locked Saquon Barkley down Sunday. They shut him down in the running game. Okay, Matt Breida actually got a rushing touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson, 9 catches, 100 yards. Bad news is he's out for the season. But don't worry, you got Darius Slayton. He can ball, he can play. Kenny Galladay, he's no scrub. He actually can make plays. And I had somebody text me, oh, he sucks, Rich. Really? So a Pro Bowl caliber receiver sucks. He's better than some other teams' receivers. We don't have to name teams, but he's better than a lot of other teams' receivers. Okay? Richie James caught a touchdown. He's no scrub, okay? Like I said, you have good pieces. But Saquon Barkley got shut down. And this is why I'm saying the Giants offense goes through Saquon Barkley. If Saquon gets stopped, they're not winning much of those games. But the luck ran out, okay? The luck finally ran out, all those close calls that went their way, and now they're getting to the meat and the grit part of the schedule. Cowboys one more time, Commanders twice, Eagles twice, the Vikings. It's not tougher than the Patriots schedule, but it's tougher than we all thought. Because we didn't think the NFC East would be this good. Oh, no. And now the Commanders are 1 game behind them. Oh, boy. Tell me if they go from 7-1 to missing the playoffs, I am going to laugh so hard. I don't know if I could do an entire Lounge Time episode for how much laughing I'll be at. If they go from 7-1 to totally out, it will be the funniest thing ever. Okay? But there's no panic yet. No. Because they'll be all right. They'll be okay. They're going to beat the Commanders once. All right, I don't think they might beat the Eagles once, depending on how they do. All right, they got the Colts mixed in there. They'll be, okay. No worries. They'll be fine, okay? They're not, there's no problems there. They're going to be just fine. Trust me. But trust me, they'll be fine, all right? No worries. They didn't get any sacks. They didn't get any takeaways. The defense gave up 31. They couldn't stop the run, too. So let's say that. The interception for Daniel Jones, I think it was third quarter, that prevented any hope of a comeback. Right there was the one missed opportunity. 5-13 on third down, not very good. 8 penalties for 63 yards and 3 touchdowns. They got some cleaning up to do in a short week. Because in Dallas, they already beat you with Cooper Rush in Giants. Now Dak's back. And did you see the way the Cowboys looked? Woo! It's going to be good. Right when the turkey comes out, man. Ooh! I will be watching this game real closely. Real closely. Okay? Panthers and the Ravens. Baker Mayfield did not play well. Usual. 21-33, 196 yards, 2 INTs. Running game did bad. Plain and simple. Foreman, Hubbard, they got clamped. Okay? Well, Foreman didn't play. Hubbard got clamped. right? Terrence Marshall, 3 catches, 76 yards. The only receiver that managed to do something. Offensive line's bad. We said it all year. 4 sacks allowed this game. Defense actually played well enough to win the game. It's just their offense is so bad they can't get more than 3 points. They gave up 13 the defense. That works. 3 sacks. Roy had an INT. Smith the fumble recovery. But the missed opportunities hurt so bad, and they played the Ravens tough until the missed opportunities came in the second half. Fumble, turnover on downs, INT. Baker Mayfield is not the answer for them. They have to start looking for a QB. And there's CJ Stroud, there's Will Levis, there's Bryce Young. Now, Hendon Hooker's a good late round pick. It sucks what happened to him for Tennessee, but we'll talk about that later down the road in the season. But Tennessee's basically out of the playoff. But again, there's a lot of QBs Carolina can look at, and hopefully they find their answer. But Baker Mayfield is not their answer. No way. 3 of 12 on third down, awful. 0 of 1 in the red zone, 9 penalties, 66 yards, and 3 turnovers. Good luck with the top 5 draft pick. That's all I'll say. All right? Hopefully they find their QB that they believe is the next big answer. Which brings me to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson did okay. He had a rushing touchdown that was a key difference in the ball game. Demarcus Robinson, 9 catches, 128 yards. Mark Andrews, 6 catches for 63 yards. Came back after being injured the last couple weeks. Running game did okay. Offensive line, I'm still not sold on. 3 sacks allowed. I've seen teams get after Lamar Jackson. Like I said, the Ravens, all they want to do is run the ball. They're not a pass-blocking line. Okay? Defense, luckily, won them the game. 3 points allowed, a fumble recovery, 2 INTs, 4 sacks. They should do that to one of the worst teams in the league. Plus, you have an easy schedule. They'll be fine. Okay? Like I said, the interception by Lamar was the one missed opportunity. 6 of 15 on third down, not very good. 1 of 4 in the red zone. 10 penalties for 93 yards and a turnover. Sloppy, ugly win. But a lot of cleaning up left to do. In 7 games. A lot of cleaning up to do. Commanders and the Texans. Heineke was okay. Didn't throw a touchdown. Didn't throw a pick. He was okay. Gibson and Robinson ran the ball well. Samuel had a rushing touchdown. Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin helped out in the passing game. Offensive line protected Heineke well. 0 sacks. Defense, 10 points allowed. They got 5 sacks. Montez Sweat, Deron Payne had 2 sacks each. And they're getting Chase Young back soon. That's a plus. Kendall Fuller had a 37-yard pick six. One of the big plays in the game. Forrest had an INT. Right? The 1 interception was a missed opportunity. But I thought Heineke didn't throw a pick. It might have been a typo. 3 of 13. Awful. 1 of 4 in the red zone. Still some work Washington's got to clear up. But if you want to make a run for a wild card, you got to be able to do the little things well. Protect the ball because Heineke's okay. But don't let him be the reason you guys lose games. The running game's been doing good, and those receivers you got are not bad. It's just, can they step up when their number's called upon? All right? But a good win against a not-so-great team, but 6-5, above 500. And I thought they were looking at a top 5 draft pick. We don't know, but hey, they got a shot for a wild card. Which brings me to the Texans. Davis Mills was not very good. He was not. 19 of 33, 169 yards, 2 INTs. Not the answer. Running game did horrible. 1.3 yards per carry. 1.3 yards per carry. They did horrible. Cooks is the only guy they can throw to in the passing game. No wonder why he wants out. 3 catches for 70 yards. Offensive line, 5 sacks allowed. That draft capital, you got to rebuild the line. Okay? Defense, 17 points allowed. 0 sacks, 0 takeaways. They're just not very good. 2 of 13 on third down. That's trash. 1 of 2 in the red zone, 2 turnovers. Heading towards the first team we will no longer talk about once they are out of playoff contention. And they're in the driver's seat to be the first team that's out. Okay? Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. Derek Carr played good. 23-37 for 307. 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs ran the ball very well against Denver. 24 carries, 109 yards. Devontae Adams, 7 catches, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of the best games he's had all season. Okay? Defense. Finally, the Raiders defense plays a great game. 16 points allowed. Max Crosby gets 2 of the team's 3 sacks. 10 quarterback hits the Raiders defense had. 10! The most of the week. 0 takeaways, though. That's the one thing the Raiders can't do. They got Jones and Crosby, but they haven't been really as big as they need to be at times, but they can't take the ball away. That's the one thing the Raiders have to find. They have to find a way to get some type of takeaways. They can't do that. 3 of 11 on third down, not very good. 0 of 1 in the red zone. 9 penalties for 98 yards. They swept their division rival, but this team, they got some cleaning up to do. Big time. Okay? They're still the Raiders that we know them to be. Penalty football team, and they can't do the little things they need to do to win games. Okay? Which brings me to the Broncos. Russell Wilson looked okay. Latavius Murray had a rushing touchdown. Cortland Sutton, Kendall Hinton, just like the Titans game, they're the only guys really doing stuff in the passing game. Okay? 3 sacks allowed. Their offensive line lately has not been good since the bye week. Defense gave up 22. They only had 1 sack, no takeaways. 3 of 12 on third down. Dreadful. Okay? 1 of 2 in the red zone. Not good. 5 penalties. They got some work to do. This team is just not very good. Nathaniel Hackett, we've said all year long, over his head. They're not going anywhere. Plain and simple, they're not going anywhere. Cowboys and the Vikings. Now, it's 40-3. There's not a lot to talk about other than one team. So let's be 1,000% real. We're going to start with the Cowboys first. Dak Prescott played arguably his best game of the season. 22 of 25, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good. Okay, if you're the guy that's supposed to be the next big franchise QB for Dallas, you have to be able to be great against the good teams. Minnesota, you beat a good team in Minnesota. That's what you need to do. Now you need to translate that to the postseason, Dak. That's what we need to see next. Can he be the guy that makes a deep playoff run? I don't think he can, but this is a good sign that he played well against Minnesota. Zeke even ran the ball well. 15 carries, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he should be the goal line short yardage back. Tony Pollard should be starting, especially after this game. Okay, I said it weeks ago. 15 carries, 80 yards. 6 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you had him in fantasy football, you basically won your week. Unless you're that horrible at drafting a team. Okay? Offensive line protected Dak well. No sacks allowed. Defense got 7 sacks. 3 points allowed. Armstrong had a fumble recovery. They played lights out. Parsons had 2. D-Law had 1. I forgot who else had 2. I think it might have been Armstrong. I'm probably wrong on that. But even Sam Williams is playing good for them. Okay? 12 of 17 on third down. That's great. 6 penalties, though. Dallas, everything you did this game was great. Everything you did this game was great. Along with the Commanders game, the Rams game, you got to build these games and be able to extend them into a deep playoff run now. Enough of the one-and-dones and the divisional round exits. You want to get to your first championship game since 95, you got to play like those 3 games. Minnesota, the Commanders, and at Rams. Well, at Minnesota too. But I'm saying, those 3 games, you got to play like that. Exactly how you play. That's your only hope to get to a championship game, is if you play like that. Hard to do every week. But with what you have around on that roster, there's almost no excuses. There's almost no excuses. None. Okay? Which brings me to the Vikings. I'm not surprised this was a letdown spot, but did I expect this? Hell no. Cousins was bad. Okay? Dalvin Cook, 11 for 72 on the ground. Not bad. Receivers didn't really step up. Nobody really had a good day. Offensive line gave up 7 sacks. That's not very good. Okay? Defense gave up 40, 0 sacks, 1 QB hit throughout the day, 0 takeaways. This was a bad game. They got to bury this tape. This was bad, okay? 1 of 11 on third down. Trash. 7 penalties, 1 turnover. One word. Bury the tape. Or one saying I meant. Okay? That was bad. Bengals and the Steelers. Joe Burrow was lights out. Okay? Probably not from an accuracy standpoint, but 24-39, 355 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Okay. Running game didn't do much. Higgins, 9 catches, 148 yards. Samaje Perine actually did more in the passing game than on the ground. He actually was the backup to Joe Mixon. 3 receiving touchdowns. Irvin had a touchdown. Defense gave up 30 points allowed. Hendrickson had 2 sacks, 0 takeaways. The interception was a big missed opportunity. 3 and 9 on third down, not very good. 2 turnovers and 6 penalties. Cincy looks okay the last couple weeks, but there is room for them to heat up. Once Jamar Chase gets back, I think they're going to be just fine. I think they'll make the playoffs. It's just they've really got to figure out when they get healthy, can they recapture that fire and the spark that got them going in the playoff run last year on their way to the playoffs? Because the Ravens' schedule's easy. I don't think they're winning the North. But they can get a wild card for sure. And I think they'll end up getting one. All right? But Cincinnati, they're okay right now, but this team is still, watch out. The playoff run last year showed that they are a good team when they play up to what they can be and when it matters most. They'll be fine. It's just, can they be able to pick that right back up when it's time? Are they waiting for December? Are they waiting for January? I don't know. I don't think they are, but when Chase gets back, they're going to be fine. They'll get back to their old ways, all right, and get back to a playoff run. Which brings me to the Steelers. Kenny Pickett was okay. I'm not going to say like he was bad. No, he wasn't bad. But he was okay. Now, I know I had my friend, NBA nerd, he texted me, he's like, I'm starting to hate the Pickett pick because I'm not seeing anything special. That was the exact words. First of all, he's only played what? 6 games? Maybe 5? At least 4? Something special isn't going to come right out. Some guys, it does. But some guys need a little bit more time. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Tua. Mahomes sat behind for a year. Okay? Sometimes that special magic or whatever isn't there right away. Sometimes time is good so that they can get that extra year or learning time on the clipboard and be able to find out what they, how to learn by watching. Pickett might need that, and he'll be fine. Just time, patience. Najee Harris ran the ball well. 20 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. George Pickens, 4 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Defense had 2 sacks, 2 INTs. Gave up 30 points, though. 37, rather. T.J. Watt, half a sack and an INT. Lately, he's been a thorn at the Bengals' side. Should be happy you have him. Okay? Turnover on downs. The 1 missed opportunity. 8 of 17 on third down. Pretty good. 3 of 5 in the red zone. 8 penalties for 70 yards. That's the little things that bit in the worst way. That's the little things that hurt. But Pittsburgh, it's a long season. I get it. But Pickett will eventually show that he's going to be worth the pick. Some of these QBs just take a little time to build that wow magic moment. Pickett just might need a little bit more time to find that. Okay? Chiefs and the Chargers. Mahomes, 20 of 34, 329 yards, 3 touchdowns. He played like an MVP. I can't say anything. He played like an MVP. Without Juju, without Tony, okay, without McCole Hardman. It was basically Kelsey, Watson, Sky Moore, and they won. In LA, they won. Okay? He's the front runner. I get it. The media wants to hand him the MVP right now. Okay? And honestly, he is the front runner right now, but there's a lot of ball left. A lot of ball left. Okay? Pump the brakes. There's still some big games on their schedule that, yes, if they play to what they've been playing right now, sure, they could end up with the 1 seed. But just sit back and let it fold. 7 weeks can change an MVP race. Trust me. It can. All right? I'm not giving up on Jalen Hurts just yet, but Mahomes lately, the way he's been playing, it wouldn't shock me if he ends up being the MVP. Pacheco even ran the ball well. 15 times for 107 yards. Andy Reid might have found his new running back to start. Edwards-Hilaire's on doghouse, and Pacheco looks like the man now. Kelsey, 6 catches, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like I said, Justin Watson, Sky Moore stepped up. But the Chiefs' defense is the one unit I think I'm not sold on. Okay? And I'm telling you, Chief bandwagons, if you're not concerned about that defense, you should be. Because I think when you play a Buffalo, a Cincy, even a Miami, they're going to make you sweat. And they have a chance to beat you. 27 points allowed they gave up this game. 5 sacks, 10 quarterback hits. Frank Clark in a fumble recovery. Nick Bolton at an INT. They had the 1 fumble late in the game that led to the last Charger touchdown. 5 of 10 on third downs, great. 2 of 4 in the red zone. 1 turnover. They won, but there's some slip-ups where, they're not that dominant that we used to know them to be, but they're doing it in a different way that makes them the best team in the AFC. If that makes sense. Okay? Which brings me to the Chargers. Justin Herbert, 23 of 30, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Played mostly good. Austin Eckler, 19 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Joshua Palmer, 8 catches, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a game. It just gets overshadowed by Mahomes and Kelsey. Okay. Keenan Allen came back, 5 catches, 94 yards. This offensive line, though, for the Chargers, the injuries are piling up. Rashawn Slater, obviously, he's been hurt. Zion Johnson's a rookie. They got beat up bad up front. 5 sacks is not good. Defense gave up 30. J.C. Jackson's gone for the year. Joey Bosa's always hurt. They got 1 sack, 1 fumble recovery. 2 bad drives that essentially separated this game. The fumble by Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen's a really good player. But that fumble was huge. They were moving. They were past them 50. And they fumble at the worst possible time. And it's just, if you want to beat the Chiefs, you can't do those things. You just can't. And it's demoralizing. Okay? That's the one thing that hurts the most. Okay? And that's the one possession that was basically the difference. Okay? The INT late in the game, of course, they knew Herbert was going to try to get to field goal range. They got a pick. Okay? 8 of 14 on third down, great. 2 of 3 in the red zone. 1 possession that goes your way, it's a different conversation. The little things, guys, 2 turnovers as well. The little things separate upsetting a great team and losing a close one. It's a lesson, and it's hard. It's hard, but that's the only way to explain it, to make sense. Niners and the Cardinals. Jimmy Garoppolo, 20 of 29, 228, 4 touchdowns. Running game did great. Deebo Samuel obviously had a 39-yard rushing touchdown, 7 catches, 57 yards. The Niners' running stats, you ready for this? Rushing 28 times, 159 yards, and a touchdown. They average 6 yards per carry almost. 6! Well, we rounded it up, but it's about 6. Impressive, okay? 4 catches, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns for Kittle. Gave me 24 plus points in fantasy. Take it. Ayuk, 2 catches, 20 yards, 2 touchdowns. C-Max, Christian McCaffrey, 7 catches, 67 yards. They didn't give up a sack on the offensive line. Defense got 3 sacks, 10 points allowed, 2 INTs. And they were above 50% on third down, 6 of 11. That's great. If the Niners play like the way that they played this game, they can make it to the Super Bowl, possibly win it. With the receivers, the defense, it all comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's the one thing that he has to do. He can get far, but can he get you to the ultimate prize? And he's been close, but it's not all his fault in those games. Kyle Shanahan has something to do with that as well. All right? But it comes down to Shanahan and Garoppolo on the biggest stage. Can they overcome past failures to get there? And they have the team to do it. It just comes down to those two. Which brings me to the Cardinals. McCoy was okay. Connor had a rushing touchdown. Running game didn't do much. Greg Dortch, 9 for 103. Hopkins, 9 for 91. Defense gave up 38. They didn't get a sack or a takeaway. Cardinals defense is not good. Okay? INT, turnover on down, INT. 4 missed opportunities in this game, and you lost by 4 scores. The Cardinals are not very good. They're just not. 8 of 16, great, but they can't score. 2 turnovers, voila. That's why you have 10 points. Not very good. All right, so let's get into the Week 12 picks, starting with the games on Thanksgiving Day. Bills and the Lions. Lions have won 3 straight. Buffalo won ugly last week. Still don't think the Lions' defense is very good. 41-20, I'm going Buffalo over Detroit. Bills 41, Lions 20. Josh Allen lights it up. Cowboys and Giants. I like Dallas to win. I think the Cowboys beat the Giants. I think they're the better roster of the two teams. I think Dak is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones is. I think Dallas, that offensive line the Giants have against that pass rush, yeah, no. And the Giants couldn't stop the run against Detroit. What are Zeke and Pollard going to do? Oh, they're going to eat up. If Dallas plays like they played against Minnesota and the Commanders and the Rams early in the season, they can beat the Giants. They just need to have the discipline to stick with it, okay? And not be dumb. Trying to get their first Thanksgiving win since 2018. Give me the Cowboys 26, Giants 20. Vikings against my Patriots. This comes down to, can we double cover Jefferson and keep Kirk Cousins in check? The only hope I have is Kirk Cousins sucks in primetime. Okay? That's the only hope I have is Kirk Cousins sucks in primetime. I don't think we double cover Jefferson, and I just think that those moves alone, combined with how bad our offense is, I don't see us pulling off the upset in Minnesota. Give me the Vikings 27, the Patriots 17. Bucks against the Browns. So the Bucks are coming off the bye. Cleveland's coming off a tough loss in Buffalo. But again, Tampa's offense hasn't looked great. Cleveland's defense isn't great. Bucks defense is really good. The Browns offense is okay. I think this is one of those games where Tampa's defense steps up and wins on the road, and Tom Brady goes back to mid-season, late season form. I got the Bucks 23-13 over the Browns. I think they continue what has been building for them on the hot streak, and the Bucks go into Cleveland and win 23-13 over the Browns. Titans Bengals. I think the wrong team's favored here. Titans have had 10 days of rest. Bengals offensive line has been lately good, but Vrabel and them got 9 sacks against them in the playoffs last year. Yes, the Bengals got some new pieces on the line, but they're playing well. But in Tennessee, Can Cincinnati stop Derrick Henry? I don't know if they can, especially now that he's healthy. In the playoff game, he just kind of came back off injury. Give me the Titans 26-23 over the Bengals. Miami and the Texans. It's hard for me to see a scenario where the Dolphins don't win. And I don't know if they'll get 30. I think they just get there. But the Texans' offense is not good. Miami's defense is better. The Texans' defense against Miami's offense, easy choice. Give me Miami 30-13 over the Texans. Jets and the Bears. Now, this is all contingent on if Justin Fields plays. If Justin Fields plays, I like the Bears, but I don't think I'm assuming he's not going to play. Because it's his non-throwing shoulder, and I don't think he's going to play. Zach Wilson's been put on notice. There's a chance Joe Flacco actually might start this week. Okay? That's what all I'm hearing from the New York media. Okay? I'm going to take the Jets because I think the Jets are going to win with mostly their defense, and I think Michael Carter and that running game with James Robinson, I think they're going to be the main reason. It won't be because of Zach Wilson. It'll be because of what the Jets are known to do best. Run game and a great defense. Give me the Jets 20-10 over the Bears. Commanders and Falcons. Washington's rolling, and Atlanta just is okay lately. Kyle Pitts is a big loss. Chase Young could be back. I don't think he's going to play. But give me Washington. I think they cover the 4. Give me Washington 21-17 over Atlanta. I trust Heineke over Mariota. Atlanta can only win one way, and Washington can stop the run. Atlanta's got nobody on receivers that scares Washington. I'm telling you. Give me Washington 21-17 over Atlanta. Panthers, Broncos. 2 garbage teams. But we'll take a chance on an upset. Let's go. Give me the Panthers. Okay? I don't know why Mayfield's starting over P.J. Walker. I don't know if because it's P.J. Walker's hurt. But give me the Panthers in a close one. 16-13. Panthers over the Broncos. Ravens, Jaguars. Please. Jacksonville can't stop a runaway cold or a runaway train. They are horrible. Okay? Trevor Lawrence is going to have a long night against the Ravens. Give me the Ravens 30-17. Lamar lights up Jacksonville. 30-17 Ravens over the Jaguars. Chargers, Cardinals. Sneaky good, high-scoring game. Okay? I just think Herbert and the Chargers are just better than the Cardinals are right now. All right? I know the Chargers can blow close games. Sure. But I think they beat the Cardinals. They're better. I think they win this game. Give me the Chargers 33-24 over the Cardinals in Arizona. Seahawks and Raiders. Derek Carr going against the 12th man. Raiders feel like that they can finally do things on offense. I don't know if I like them going into Seattle. I don't know about that. Geno, he's the one person I don't know if he can go beat Vegas, but the Raiders defense is that bad. I trust Geno a little bit more. Give me Seattle 28-16 over the Vegas Raiders. Chiefs and the Rams. If Matt Stafford doesn't play, this is blowout city. If he does play, I might give the Rams an extra touchdown, but I'll give you my score anyway. Give me the Chiefs 37, the Rams 17. I don't think the Rams are very good this year, and I think they're done essentially. If Kupp and Stafford play, I would maybe have this game a little closer, but I don't see it being that close. Chiefs 37, Rams 17. Niners against the Saints. Jimmy G, Andy Dalton. Jimmy G. Niners defense, Saints offense. Niners defense. Niners offense or a not so great Saints defense. Niners check all 3 boxes. Niners blow out the Saints 30-9 in San Francisco. Eagles, Packers. If Green Bay runs the ball with Dillon and Jones, that's their best chance to maybe stay in this game. They have the ingredients. The only thing they might have is they might have a better quarterback than what the Colts and Washington have. Aaron Rodgers is of that level. But can he go into Philly and pull off an upset? It's doable, but this team, with these young receivers against that experienced secondary and front 7, I don't like their chances. Closer than the experts say. Give me the Eagles 28-24 over the Packers. Colts and the Steelers. okay Monday night game. I'm probably going to check a little out. Not a lot. There's a chance I might not check this out. But the Colts have been playing good under Jeff Saturday. Kenny Pickett, that offensive line, I don't like. The Colts defense is actually sneaky good. Give me the Colts 24-20 over the Steelers. I just don't know if they're going to be able to stop Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, Campbell. They've been stepping up lately. And I think that the Colts defense is going to get after Pickett. It's going to be a long night. Najee, I don't know if he's going to be able to run the ball well. Give me the Colts 24-20 over the Steelers. All right, so those are my picks for Week 12. Hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving in football, both college and pro. We got some exciting weeks. All right, I'll be back tomorrow for more Guarantee It's. All right, make sure you guys hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button so you guys can get all the latest notifications you need to keep updated throughout the season. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next week on the next episode of Lounge Time. Have a good night, everybody.